Hey. All right. It's been a while because, well, I have an audio channel where I look at like guitar and audio products and stuff like that. That one's got like 400 ish, just shy of 400 subscribers. So I've been focusing more on that as of late. And my life has been a roller coaster. So I haven't looked at these in a while. But I wanted to today. I've got my coffee. I've got a bit of initiative. Let's just shift this over. And they put this out. Oh, I don't have my glasses. That's something I'm missing. I will be right back because this is gonna be a lot of reading. Okay, I'm also on a much cheaper camera today because my DSLR is in use for something else. I can't remember what. But I haven't hooked it back up yet. So I'm just on a regular webcam. So if you notice the colors behind me are wonky and my face looks a little bit different, I assure you I am not a body double. God, I wish that wasn't a topical reference. All right. Playtest 7. Now, they're still planning to put a book out in 2024. Best of luck, guys. I am starting, from what I've heard, they've rescinded a few things. They've changed things kind of back to a bit more in line with some of the older versions. I'd be curious to know, and I don't think they'll do this. We really need them to just put out, though, a addendum, I think would be the term, right? Sell a new handbook, but then have like a small soft cover book that has these adjustments and changes in it. I think is what's going to be crucial here. But it does sound a lot more like this new 2024 handbook is going to be just a lot closer to the original 2014. Now, I'm kind of glad in some respects that they're not going full on 6th edition, but I kind of think they should, right? Really differentiate it and just say, yeah, it's mostly backwards compatible, but your DM might have to tweak some things. There you go, right? But let's have a look. So this has all the 5 or not all the 5 class. This has 5 classes in it. So we've got Fighter, Sorcerer, Warlock, Wizard, Barbarian. Not necessarily in that order. Path of the World Tree, Barbarian, and Brawler and Fighter. I've heard about this. This actually could be really cool. A fighter doing fisticuffs. I don't think that was in the playtest 6. I've got all my, speaking of audio, all my audio stuff open above there. Feats includes a revised version of ability score improvement. Rules glossary. How to use the UA. Power level feedback. Okay, I never did end up sending them my feedback because by the time I was done looking through everything, they already pretty much had this out. So, okay, Barbarian. Here are the main updates. Now, I don't think I'm going to go through line by line like I did previously. I don't have that kind of time currently, but we'll see. Maybe they've changed enough stuff that I really need to. Danger Sense returns level 2. Now works even if you have the blind or deafened condition. Interesting. Reckless attack now grants advantage on your strength-based attack roll until you start your next turn, which means opportunity attacks can benefit as can subclass features like retaliation. So all right, already having to consult Wikidot. Reckless attack. Unless it's different on Wikidot than it is in unless it's different. Here's what I'm checking. It doesn't mention strength based previously, unless the handbook, which I don't know where my 2014 handbook is. Plus, I trust Wikidot. Wikidot's usually up to date. Oh, danger sense is what I was accidentally highlighting there. But yeah, this is using strength during this turn. Okay, so it did have Pepperpore. Okay, never mind my my conclusion there. It is for strength based, which is good because yeah, you want to make sure that they're like for multi-classing purposes, right? Honestly, for rogue, probably more so than anything. I've got a single fly in this house, and it followed me into this room. And I don't have a swatter. I'm just waiting for it to slowly die. All right. Primal knowledge has moved from level 3 to level 2, matching the level of primal knowledge in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. Okay, cool. Again, making it more and more compatible with other stuff that's out there. Instinctive Bounce has been imported from Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. Brutal Critical returns level 9. Now deals 8. This increases Relentless Rage returns to level 11. Persistent Rage returns to level 15. So this is what I mean. They copped out. Everything is returns to. They were trying to make a bunch of changes, but it's not compatible with the older books, which I get. Because it kind of would suck to have like, okay, my subclass is from Tasha's and it's not compatible now with the 2024 thing, so now they have to re-release Tasha's, but which I mean, I wouldn't put it past them to re-release a bunch of those books. But they're really resetting everything back to the same leveling scheme as before. Because they backed themselves into a corner. They, as much as I'm annoyed that they didn't go D&D 1 or whatever they were trying to do, this should have been a new edition if they wanted to make all those changes. Because I think some of those changes were cool, but like a lot of this is, from what I can see, we're returning everything to kind of where it should be. Much like I said previously. I forgot to hit the record button. All right, I just finished a bit of a rant on this stuff. I haven't been on here in a while. I'm already annoyed at the little bit that I looked through. I've been streaming for like 8 minutes, but 5 of that was me finding my glasses. This is Playtest 7. I didn't get a chance to send in my feedback for Playtest 6 because they put this out before I had a chance to. But from what I hear, it wouldn't have mattered. They rescinded just about everything. From what I've already mildly seen, they should have just done the D&D 1. As much as I would have been annoyed that, hey, we're changing the game up enough that we need a new edition. Keep the subclasses, the subclass stuff at the same levels, and mess with the class bases. That's what, in my opinion, they should have done. They've tried way too hard to make this fit into 5th ed that they've backed themselves into a corner, and now nothing's changing. That's what I'm seeing. They're tweaking little things here and there. A whole new handbook, if you're going back to like on everything you were planning on doing, guys. I don't know if it's going to feel worth it. I don't know if anybody in my play groups is going to bother with it. But we'll see. Because yeah, I was looking over the barbarian here already, and returns to level 2. Reckless. Now affects until the start of your next turn. Okay, that's a cool change. Move from level 3 to level 2, matching Tasha's. Wait. Imported something from Tasha's. Returns to level 9. Returns to level 11. Returns to level 15. Returns to level 18. Returns to level 20. I have a suspicion that is going to be a trend. Like, the only thing I'm seeing that they've changed is like, okay, so this works even if you have blind and deafened. Okay. This is a good change. I like this. They've kept a few things, right? So, because they didn't mention this here, I'm willing to guess. Yeah, they kept the you can take a bonus action to extend your rage. That is good. But yeah, almost everything else is now lining up. Oh, good. Okay, they did keep weapon mastery. Good. Good. I've been playing a bit of Baldur's Gate 3 and having like extra cool stuff you can do depending on what weapon you're wearing. Awesome. So keeping weapon mastery is good. They've changed brutal critical. Pretty sure. What was brutal critical before? Oh, they might not have had it before. Nope, brutal critical 1 die in level 9. Okay, it was here before. Additional weapon die. So they've changed it. Okay, this is kind of neat. Brutal critical is a 1d12. I can kind of get behind that, actually. Works for unarmed strikes. Strength or an unarmed strike. So this could be if you're multi-classed into a monk, you'd have to go like to certain things like reckless would suck if you're multi-classed into monk, because I think monk almost always uses dexterity unless they've changed something to make it that you can use strength instead. So it might be, well, it could be for the brawler that they've added in for fighter. Or just for general, like, oh, you're unarmed? Well, you can still do some damage. Yeah, but changing this instead of a weapon die is now a whatever. No matter what you're using, you add a d12 or 2d12 or 3d12. That's great. Because as a barbarian, if you want to dual wield or something like that, now that's a little more viable. Yeah, I don't want to sit on this for too long because, again, doesn't sound like they've made any major changes other than they've shifted everything back to original leveling, which I'm annoyed at, but I get at the same time. Like, I can't get behind it, but I understand why they did it. I just don't like their rationale behind it. Scrolling through. Oh, they did change a few things there. So Path of the Berserker. The main update is they changed something from a bonus action, or something to a bonus action from an action. Always a good thing to see. I want more bonus action stuff. Especially for non-rogue classes. Rogues have like a laundry list of bonus actions. You can really lean into it, where a lot of other classes, it's like, okay, you did your action? Okay, you're done. So that's fine. Path of the Wild Heart. Animal Seeker, formerly called Spirit Seeker, now has spellcasting ability specified. Okay, we'll take a look at that. Rage of the Wild, formerly called Totem Spirit, contains revisions to options. Bear no longer grants resistance to all but one damage type. No, former design was too powerful. You can choose to. Okay, cool. Eagle lets you take both the dash and disengage option when you activate your rage as a bonus action. Okay. And Wolf has an increase of 10 feet. Aspect of the Wild, formerly called Aspect of the Beast, contains revisions to the following options. Elephant now grants proficiency in athletics and insight skill, granting expertise if you already have the proficiency. That's cool. All right. Because yeah, how many times is it you get proficiency in this? Oh, I already had proficiency in that. Well, have fun. So granting expertise, I hope they do more stuff like that. Of like, because expertise lets you add your proficiency twice. So if you weren't proficient, you get it once, and if you are proficient, well, you get expertise. So that's sweet. Owl was once known as Eagle, which I guess they wanted to differentiate, but for adding in Elephant, formerly Bear. Okay, so they you get more totems. So you have your Rage of the Wild, Aspect of the Wild, formerly Wolf. So yeah, they've renamed the second tier, which isn't a big deal, but I do think is nice because it'll if somebody is like, I'm a very wolfy barbarian, well then you'd kind of feel like you need to take the wolf at this level for RP reasons, where this opens the door a bit more for RP reasons in terms of labeling. This is one of the few times where I'd say the change in the labels actually has some impact. Insect. I've got like food on my desk that they could be going to, but they insist on landing on this. I don't understand it. All right. So they've changed a few things here though. Proficiency. Owl. Proficiencies. Proficiencies or expertise. Yeah. So these are all. That's all great. I'm thinking that's a good call. I like that it adds expertise. I don't know if it did before. Spirit Walker, Power of the Wilds. So yeah, all they did there was clarify that, I guess, and then again they've renamed these. I think that's okay. It also clarifies things too, of like, oh, I took Aspect of the Bear. Okay, but did you take Totemic Attunement of the bear? Because again, like it feels like, oh, I'm a bear totem, so I always get bear. Where now, I think it really just lets you decide a bit more, because I think you always had the choice, but now it's just clarified a bit more. Yeah, I seriously don't understand why this, like, because this is a large room, but it insists on flying directly around me. Maybe I smell, maybe I need to take a shower, which I do, but that's going to be before work, not while I'm sitting in front of a computer screen. Alrighty. And then they added a whole new subclass. So let's actually talk about that a bit. Because, yeah, it sounds like the other two subclasses have had some tweaks. I'm not seeing anything major compared to last time. nothing that would make me nothing that would make me want to go over every last aspect of it. Stop by immunity to find. Oh, interesting. Something that is no longer stopped by immunities. That's always being able to break through immunities is always cool. Persistent fly speed while rage is active, provided you aren't wearing any armor. And then something that doesn't use your bonus action but requires a saving throw. Interesting. Let's just quickly check that, which is conveniently right here. Oh, this must have had a extra requirement before of if they were immune to fear, they were immune to it, but now it isn't. I was thinking it was like a fear thing. So I'm fine with that change because this doesn't really sound like a fear thing. It's just kind of a classic taunt. You have a fly speed equal to your speed, provided you aren't wearing any armor. Okay, cool. Ram. Large or smaller creature with a melee attack. It must succeed on a saving throw or be knocked prone. Okay, cool. Based on, yeah, cool. Path of the World Tree. Let's take an actual look at the new subclass because that's far more interesting than the mild tweaks. Although I'm liking that I'm seeing tweaks and stuff. That's all good. That tells me they are actually listening to feedback. Unfortunately, some of that feedback was keep it compatible, which I'm at a little bit at odds to. All right. So it's designed around like you're worshiping the world tree. Connects the many worlds in the material plane. So it's not like just a tree. This is like a tree that exists and connects the planes and stuff. Cool. Very yeah, I can't remember. There's some mythology that lines up with. It's interesting. I wonder if it is just directly ripped from something. Oh, level 3, Vitality of the Tree. When you activate your rage, gain a number of hit points equal to your barbarian level. Start of each of your turns, while the rage is active, you can choose whether another creature within 10 feet of you choose another creature to gain temporary hit points. To determine the number of hit points, roll a number of d6. D6 is equal to your rage damage bonus. Add them together. I can't tell if there's a typo in here or not. Because it just says hit points. But then it says temporary hit points here. I think it's supposed to say temporary hit points. No, okay. When activate regain a number of, okay, so it's a heal. That's what I missed. And you can't give these temporary hit points to this is overpowered as hell. There is a there's a paladin spell that lets you do temporary hit points per turn that is equal to your like charisma modifier, but it's like I think it's one creature. And this is any creature within 10 feet of you. You can give multiple d6s of temporary hit points, right? Because your rage damage 2. So when you get this, you give 2d6s of temporary hit points to somebody every turn. That to me feels broken. If you limit it to one target, like they lose it if you put it on somebody else, I think it might be fine. And it is interesting that it is someone else. Like you can't use it on yourself. It would be really overpowered if you could use it on yourself, right? You're gaining back essentially at the start of each of your turns while your rage is active, choose another creature. That helps this thing, limits this a bit. In 10 feet of yourself to gain temporary hit points. To determine the number of temporary hit points, roll d6s equal to your rage, add them together, and then after the rage ends, they vanish. Yeah, that's potentially 12 temporary hit points at level 3 per turn, right? Like that is busted. This needs to get brought down. Paladin spells. It is an aura. It's divine favor. No, that's radiant damage. What is the spell that I'm thinking of? Heroism, maybe? Yeah, Bard, Paladin only. Concentration, 1 minute, so it's a first level spell. Well, that does have immunity to frightened. But yeah, temporary hit points equal to your spell casting ability modifier at the start of each of its turns. And this is single target, because that's, I think they need to say one other creature, right? Like if you made this one creature, or like when you rage, if there's a creature within 10 feet of you, you can give not on each of your turns. Like this is that's ridiculous. I maybe I'm missing something, but that to me, and yeah, 2d6s, because like I've had 3 levels in Warlock on one of my characters, and they get like 6 temporary hit points for killing something or something like that, right? Like this is just, hey, you use this bonus action and you get, right? Like, and I know that it has time limitations, right? Like, as once your rage ends, these vanish, and I believe rage can last a maximum of 10. Because that's the other thing. Rage now, I believe, can last 10 minutes, and you can re-up it on a bonus action. So this is completely busted with the new rage rules. Before we go into combat, I'm going to spend 1 minute out of my 10-minute rage, because I think let me just double check that they didn't change the wording on that. Maybe they changed something. Maintain rage for 10 minutes. Nope. Okay. Yeah, this is busted. I could break the game with this. Hey, we know combat's coming. I rage. I give you 2d6 temporary hit points. I give you 2d6 temporary hit points. I give you 2d6, and just do that 5 times. It takes 30 seconds to do that. Okay, now we charge in. Everybody, oh, I only rolled I rolled a 1 and a 2 for you. Let's re-up that, right? This is ridiculous. This is broken. They need to fix this. Somebody missed a whole bunch of exploits that can be done with it. If you limit it to a single creature, like if you use this on a different creature, or when you use this again, the previous temporary hit points vanished or something like that, maybe. But you're doing 2d6s at level 3, which again can be potentially 12. Which, you know, you throw that on your wizard and like you've just basically doubled their hit points. Like that. No, this has to change. This has to go. I'm sorry. There's too many. And again, because you can keep your rage going for 10 minutes. And it, or make this cost a bonus action. That's another thing you could do. Because out of combat, that gets rid of the out of combat stuff. Make this. Yeah, make this cost. It should cost a bonus action, because then out of combat you can't use it because you've raged and then you go to use it. Well, it rage costs your bonus action, and keeping your rage up costs your bonus action. And then you can only have this on one creature at a time. So you can re-up it, but then it vanishes on somebody else. I think it needs those two changes, and then I'd be maybe for it. But again, 2d6s at level 3 seems like a lot. But yeah. Yeah, this is busted under current rules. This might have worked before when rage would end if you didn't do damage or take damage. But yeah, I could exploit the crap out of this. Like I would you could multi-class into this just for this if you were like a fighter or something, like, because it's utterly ridiculously broken. This needs adjustment. There's too many exploits. Branches of the tree. While your rage is active, whenever a creature you can see within 20 feet of you can use their reaction to summon a the target must succeed on a strength saving throw, DC A plus proficiency with that, or be teleported to an unoccupied space within 5 feet of yourself. The space target teleports to must be on the surface or a liquid that can support it, otherwise it doesn't teleport. Any creature can voluntarily fail. So you can use this on your allies because it doesn't cause damage. So I want you to be beside me. Come this way. This is really cool. I don't see it being too busted. It's only 20 feet. I have to see how that works with verticality, because if something's 20 feet above you, but they're only 5 feet away, can you summon them maybe directly next to you? And it is when they end their turn, so you can't like combo this with other stuff during your turn. So I dig it. That's fun. I like it. And yeah, they make a note that, hey, you can do this to your allies, and they can decide to fail. Battering boots. World tree extend tendrils from the world tree extend from your melee weapon. While you wield any melee weapon, your reach with that weapon increases by 10 feet. When you hit with it, you can activate the push or topple property if you're using another mastery property with that weapon. I believe you can only activate one mastery thing per attack, so you can add push or topple specifically to it. I like that. I think they need to add more things like that to the barbarian, because the fighter lets you like swap these out and mess with them and do a bunch of cool weird stuff. So adding push and topple to it. What worries me is Sentinel on a because it has to leave your threatened squares to trigger an opportunity attack. Less busted where then my brain initially goes to. But you could potentially have a 20-foot reach with a polearm, which is sweet. And that would actually almost reduce the use of Sentinel in some regards, because like it gives people again 20 feet around you that they can move without triggering a opportunity attack. Okay, less busted than I thought. Really cool. I don't know why it's. Oh, I said root. I said boots when it says roots. But that is very I am Groot, and then your weapon grows. So that's kind of cool. I like that. That's fine. As an action, travel along the tree. Touch a huge or large tree or a teleportation circle to create a link through the world tree to a teleportation circle somewhere else on the same world or another plane of existence. When you do so, you can specify a target destination in general terms, such as the City of Brass, Planet Fire, or on the Planet Fire, and you and up to 5 willing creatures within 30 feet of you appear at the teleportation circle closest destination. If a teleportation circle is too small to hold all the creatures to teleport, they appear in the unoccupied space close to it. Requires a long rest. If you run out of uses of this feature, you can spend 5 uses of rage. Choosing to activate this instead. Level 14, giving your barbarian a way to teleport. Is this busted or is this pointless? I mean, it's cool. Okay, so huge tree or larger. So it has to be a big tree. Can't just like be in a forest and like, okay, everybody get in. I think this is fine, but I don't know if you have a druid or a wizard in the party, this becomes like near useless. So I don't know. Yeah, I think for the quote unquote capstone of this, like I like the flavor of it, and they couldn't put it earlier. If you put this earlier, it'd be broken, because then you'd be getting it before your wizards or your druids. I like the flavor of it, but it's just not perfect. I do like that it's instant by the look of it. So if you're fighting somewhere, like it's just touch the tree and willing creatures within 30 feet of you. So this is a good get out of dodge kind of ability. I'm warming up to it. I see why it's at the level that it's at. Very, very, very situational. I don't know if I would ever use it outside of combat, but if I'm in a combat situation where we have to, we got to get out of here. Yeah, and willing creatures within 30 feet of you and up to 5, including you. So if you have a party of 4 and you've got, say, like 2 allies with you or something, I could see this being useful. All right, Path of the Zealot. Well, let me just sum up. Path of the World Tree, busted. There's too many exploits right here. This Vitality of the Tree, right? You get up to, like, say, level 16 here. You're rolling 4d6s. You're giving 4d6s worth of temporary hit points to every party member before combat. Unless there's something I'm missing here. which could be. Maybe there's something when you activate your rage, you regain a number of hit points equal to your barbarian level. Perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. What I would have liked to see here actually is they should have buffed this a bit and make this like aid, where it increases your hit points while healing you X amount. So your base hit point pool and your health go, right? So if you're at full health and you rage, there's a benefit to it. That's a change I would make, actually. I would buff it in that sense, and I would debuff this. This needs some changes. Start of each of your turns, while your rage is active, you can choose another creature within 10 feet of yourself to gain temporary hit points. To determine the number of temporary hit points, roll a number of d6s equal to your rage damage bonus and add them together. If any of those temporary hit points remain when your rage ends, they vanish. So everybody gets those temporary hit points for 10 minutes. Yeah, no, I'm reading it right, and it's horrendously overpowered. It needs can only be on one creature at a time, and it need or preferably takes your bonus action to do. So when you initially go into the rage, you can just do it. You can recast it for a bonus action. So in combat, you have to use your bonus action to give somebody else those hit points. That means out of combat, you can buff one person. Right? That's actually, honestly, that's how I would change it. I don't mind how overpowered it is in some respects if it's forcing your barbarian to use their bonus action all the time. Because then have it that they can do it once out of combat, basically, because they have to then maintain their rage with their bonus actions. But then, okay, I managed to do damage this turn. That means I can, if somebody else is within 10 feet of me, give them temporary hit points. That instantly levels it out a little more. It's still a little overpowered. 2d6s at level 3, but yeah, I would make some changes. This has to be reworked. I like the flavor of it. I like the it's got some cool stuff. Again, though, I would buff this because it's actually less useful for you than it is for the rest of your party. Yeah, I don't know how they missed that. They probably already have an amendment to this. Vitality of the tree. I wonder if there's any discourse on this. Vitality of the tree. Playtest 7. Yeah, I don't know if maybe I'm missing something here. I was expecting a lot more people to be saying this thing's busted. Maybe I'm missing something. Anyway, it's a fun subclass. I like the idea of it, where it's a more druidic feeling subclass without going the animalistic route. I do like that they're really leaning more into this 3 sources of magic, where you have divine, arcane, and primal, and this is primal side, but instead of primal like beast shapes type things, or like the totems of the different animals and stuff, this is it's tree based. Yeah, I like it. All right, Path of the Zealot. Yeah, this has been around for a bit. Changes from Xanathar's. Divine Fury now allows you to determine the type of, or the damage type each time you deal the damage. Interesting. Word of the Gods now includes the ability to regain additional hit points when healed by a spell or magic item. Interesting. Zealous Presence. multiple times between long rests by expending uses of your rage. Okay. Okay, I actually need to read this now because there's a lot of changes. You can channel Divine Fury into your strikes while Rage is active. And with the weapon or unarmed strike, they take an additional 1d6 plus half your barbarian level, necrotic or radiant you choose. Okay, that's handy, being able to choose necrotic or radiant. I think that's probably how it was before. Was it would be, I think it used to be radiant across the board or something. Or you would choose at time of raging would be my other guess. Yeah. Warrior of the Gods. Yeah, like I said, like I think this is mostly just they've adjusted it so that you can choose, which is nice because if you're fighting undead, you can switch some stuff. Helps you ensure to continue to fight. Magic. When a spell or magic item, so potions, restores any of your hit points, you can roll a d12 and regain additional hit points equal to the number rolled. Use this benefit equal to number on your Constitution modifier, minimum once, which should be higher than that. And you gain those back on a long rest. In addition, if a spell such as Raise Dead has sole effect of restoring you to life, but not on death, the caster doesn't need material components to cast it on you. Interesting. Requires it. Okay. Okay. I need to use the washroom. But that's actually neat. We'll talk about that when I get back. Yes, I'm in my pajamas. Okay, so that spell Raise Dead normally costs 500 gold worth of diamonds, or a diamond worth, which is important because having like 5 diamonds worth 100 gold each doesn't do it. I don't know. I have heroism open still. All right. Where now they're saying, if a spell such as Raise Dead has a sole effect of such as Raise Dead. So this would probably work for Revivify as well. Yeah, that's cool. I don't know if that was always the case or not. Fanatical Focus. If you fail a saving throw while your rage is active, you can re-roll it. You can use this feature only. You must use the new roll. You can use this feature only once per active rage. Interesting. Now, was that added? No. Okay. Zealous Presence. This was changed, right? Yeah. All right. As a bonus action, you unleash a battle cry infused with divine energy. Up to 10 other creatures of your choice have within 60 feet of you gain advantage on attack rolls and saving throws. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. If you run out of uses of this feature, you can expend your rage to activate a use of your rage to activate Zealous Presence instead of rage. I that could be way overpowered. I don't know, especially because I think you get rages back on a short rest. I can't remember. I should know. None of my players are playing barbarians anymore. Long rest. Okay, so yeah. So expending a resource in exchange for something else, that's not the worst. Too far. What I'd be curious to know, it says if you run out of uses, you can expend a use of your rage to activate this instead of raging. Does that mean you can or cannot activate this while you're raging, or use a point of rage to activate it? And it says a bonus action. And it's other creatures. So it doesn't give you it. Yeah, like this is crazy powerful. I've seen it in use, but I've never had it at my table. Being able to use it instead of raging. Yeah, okay. I'm fine with it. You know, you're giving up like your main class feature or uses of your main class feature. Very useful in like a big boss fight. I think it might be overpowered in some of those situations though, especially with rage being much easier to maintain. Yeah, I think this might be too powerful of a change, but only slightly. You might need to make it take up like 2 charges of rage or something, because like that's level 10. How many rage do you have at level 10? 4? Yeah, make it take 2. And then I'd be fine with it. You know, cut the amount of times you can rage in half in a day in exchange for using it. And that only at that point adds 1 extra if you plan on using any rages that day. That's what I would do. I think that would level that out. I think it's too powerful now. Slightly. I don't mind it. Yeah, that's my call there. When your relentless rage successfully restores your hit points, you can assume the form of a spectral warrior. Relentless rage, that's where you drop to 0, but you have to roll something. Let's double check the rules there. Make sure they're what I have in my head. Reckless. Relentless Rage. You drop to 0 hit points while raging. Make a DC 10 con save. If successful, your hit points instead change to the number equal to twice your barbarian level. Increases by 5. Is that the same as it used to be? Apparently, or at least from the last playtest. Interesting. So when you restore those hit points, you gain fly speed and can hover. Important note. Move through creatures and objects as if they were difficult terrain. Oh, so you become like a spectral warrior kind of thing. When you're hit by an attack roll, you use your reaction. That's fun. All right. Can't use it until a long rest. So, did this used to exist? Okay, so they just revamped it. Because this is weird and tricky, but I understand it. So you stay conscious, but you now are making death saves. So if you take damage, it's not like you're adding to your damage pool. You would take 2 death save, or you would take a death save for getting hit. Because it's normal effects, but they wouldn't be crits because you're not unconscious. If you would die due to failing death saves, you don't die until the end of your rage, and you die only if you still have 0 hit points. Yeah, so that was cool and weird. But this is I don't know. I don't know which I prefer. I think I like the old one more. But yeah, that's interesting. It's similar to there used to be a yeah, there used to be a different thing. I don't know if it was from something else, but yeah, I like the feel of this. Unless, I wonder if it's a change. Did they change the um Relentless Rage? Okay, so they changed the Relentless Rage a bit because it used to be a single hit point. Now it's more hit points. So I think this works probably better with the Relentless Rage thing. I don't know. That's a little weird. Yeah, but that's Barbarian. Cool. Like I said, they've kind of moved everything back in line, so there's less fun, weird things to talk about. Um, there's some broken stuff. Like I don't know why. No, maybe I'm missing something on the vitality of the tree stuff. Path of the Zealot looks like they just tweaked a few little things. They tweaked one thing on Berserker from the last playtest, which tells me they either feel like they've got it or I don't know. But that is that. So that's Barbarian. Now we're gonna look a little at Fighter. See if this requires as much attention. Although I think they did add a new subclass, so it probably will. Fighter updates. So now these are from the last playtest version. So which I think I looked at. Yes. Anyway. Fighting style now lets you replace the feat you chose whenever you gain a fighter level. Okay, we're gonna have to read that. That sounds actually really interesting. Second win now also restores one expended use on a short rest. I'm okay with that. Weapon mastery maxes out at 6 instead of 5. Okay, cool. That's very minor, but I think that's for like some of the later, like you can have more than one mastery going on at the same time on a weapon. I think is what that might affect. Action Surge now allows any action except for magic. And improves level 17. Tactical Mind, new level 2 feature, which allows the fighter to excel in or out of combat. Interesting. Okay, so there's a few changes here. Yeah, they returned everything to the 2014 levels. If you saw my stuff on Barbarian, right? Because if you're watching this in post, they've moved everything back level wise, which I'm not a fan of. I think they hamstring themselves. Hamstrung? I don't know. They put themselves in a trap. They can't go straight too far away from 2014 options because the power levels at certain levels are then off, and it really messes with multi-classing stuff. If somebody like multi-classes Fighter from 2014 and Barbarian from 2024, right? Like it's just they should have just either bit the bullet and made it one D&D, or they can do this where they're making these tiny little changes that they could do in tweet form or X's. I don't know. I'm not on Twitter. Tactical shift, new level 5 feature. Ooh, I like that. Looks like they combined a few things together at level 9. Indomitable, once again, confers more uses at higher levels. Study attacks, new level 13 feature. Interesting. Unconquerable has been cut in favor of Indomitable, improving at higher levels. Okay, yeah, so I think they cut back Indomitable and then added Unconquerable, but they're like, no, that didn't work. And then yeah, they moved the 3 attack thing to level 20. Yeah. I don't like these. Everything's shifted back to where it was things, but yeah. Fighting style. Second wind. And I believe there are 2 charges. And then yeah, you get one back on a short rest, which I think is good. They're trying to encourage more short resting, especially as they move Warlock apparently back to what it used to be. Spoilers ahead, though I've only heard rumor of that, so I could be wrong. Yeah, you get things. Sure. you reach certain levels of fighter, you gain more use of this feature. Yeah. Weapon mastery, pretty unchanged. Action surge, short or long rest. Level 17, you can use it twice, but only once on a turn. Tactical mind. When you fail an ability check, you can expend a use of your second wind to push yourself towards success. Rather than gaining the hit points, you gain a d10. Okay. And if it fails, you don't use second wind. That's actually, yeah, this is cool. This is handy. And again, outside of combat, that's really useful. And it is an ability check. So if you're using an athletics check in combat to not be grappled, I think you can use this as well by the look of it. This is cool. I like it. And because you can use second wind for other stuff, they've turned it into more of like a resource pool. I like that they're giving you more uses of second wind per day, so then you're more likely to use it rather than, oh, I gotta save those for hit points, blah blah. Subclasses, ability score improvement. I have to look at feats because they said they changed some of the wording. I think they said extra attack, tactical shift. Oh, this is actually, I like this wording. So this is what they were mentioning before. So whenever you activate your second wind as a bonus action, which is how you do it, you move up to half of your speed without provoking opportunity attacks. I like everything I see there. That's just cool. Makes second wind more useful at higher levels. Yeah, perfect. Dominable. I think that's the same as it was before, but they've just made it back to what it was kind of later on. Mastery of armaments. Finish a long rest, you can choose any of using or replace the mastery property. So this is the, I don't know if it's included in this this paperwork here, but the masteries, they had it where you can there's certain prerequisites for, like, certain things just innately come with certain masteries, and then you can some of the masteries have specific requirements where, like, it has to be a heavy weapon or like a great weapon, that kind of thing, or it has to have finesse in order to have this particular one, has to be throwable. So as long as it meets those prerequisites, you can move it. Yeah, this I think they just combined two things together is all. Studied attacks. Was this the new one? Your mastery study your opponents and learn from each attack you make. If you make an attack roll against a creature and miss, you have advantage on your next attack roll against that creature before the end of your next turn. So if you miss your last attack, your next attack will have advantage. I like that. That's cool. Doesn't seem too overpowered. And it's high enough level that at this point, you're like, anytime you have things that grant advantage, the big thing that always comes into my head that people have to keep in mind is rogues. It's the reason why I don't use flanking, even though rogues get their sneak attack anyway because they have a creature within 5 feet, blah blah blah. But anytime I'm thinking about, okay, this gives advantage, there are a bunch of other abilities and stuff that give advantage. So the more ways to get advantage, the less useful other things become. There aren't a lot of there's not a lot of base ways to gain advantage as a fighter. So I do like this for that. I don't know if that was originally, is that a new thing? Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I think there's other ways to give yourself advantage as a fighter through subclasses, but I like that. So yeah, only mild changes. I don't think it needed a lot of excuse me. I don't think it needed a lot of adjustment compared to the playtest 6, so I'm perfectly fine with these adjustments they're making. Battle Master. Adjustments made since the 2014 handbook. Student of War now also gives you proficiency in a skill. Know your enemy now allows you to know a creature's damage resistances, immunities, and vulnerabilities. You have to read that. Relentless now allows you to use a maneuver once per turn without expending a superiority die. But that free maneuver uses a d8. Interesting. All right. So yeah, it has the classic maneuvers, which is cool. Pretty unchanged there. Proficiency with one type of artisan's tools of your choice and proficiency in one skill of your choice. Was it just artisan tools before? I mean, Battlemaster is like one of the most powerful fighter builds in the game, so I don't think it necessarily needed more than that at level 3, but that's kind of funny that yeah, you get proficiency in artisan tools. Look at that. Although I guess that's at the same level you're getting this stuff, so yeah, it's fine. Yeah, and I'm cool with that. Know your enemy. Certain strengths and weaknesses of a creature. Once you have used, okay, so you can use a bonus action to know if they have any immunities, resistances, vulnerabilities, and if the creature has any, you know what they are. Cool. Once you use this feature, you cannot do so again until you finish a long rest. And you can get it back with a superiority die. No action required. Okay. Now, what was it? Before, I think this was the if you observe them for 1 minute. I like this way more. This is a much better in combat thing. And the know your enemy, it was always kind of neat that like a fighter could like size somebody up outside of combat, but I haven't seen it be useful. But again, because battle masters are so good, having some stuff wasn't as big of a worry. Level 10, you get superiority dies as a d10. Relentless. Once per turn, when you use a maneuver, you can roll a d8 and use the number rolled instead of spending a superiority die. So this is actually really cool. Now, did they have this before? What did they have at this level? 5e Battle Master. And this is, I don't need Raised Dead open anymore. I don't need Barbarian open anymore. This is level 15, which is where, yeah, stuff gets ridiculous at that level. Normally. Oh yeah, this is way better. Yeah. The original was if you have no superiority die when you roll initiative, you get one, which is fine. This is way cooler. This lets you use a maneuver every turn. Period. It's just not as good as if you actually choose to expend the die. This could be broken. I don't know. But I think that's really good. Yeah. And including, like, because when you get up to 18, it goes up to a D12. Cool and all, but I'm going to take as many free maneuvers as I can. Like, I'm going to be adding that D8 to everything, and then the very specific things that I think I need that D12 for, I will use a die for. Which means you can, yeah, you can use, because I believe you can do 3 maneuvers. You can only use 1 maneuver per attack, not per turn. So you can, at level 20, when you get 3 attacks, you can use potentially 1 free and then expend 2 more die that turn, use action surge, and then expend as many more as you have left. You can make for some real silly stuff. Add your strength or dexterity modifier to the damage. What? Oh, these are changes to maneuvers. I see. I was like, what? Why does it have such little description? And yeah, maneuvers. They brought in the stuff from Tasha's because I believe they added a bunch. Commander Strike no longer uses your bonus action. Interesting. Disarming attack. They work with any type of attack roll. Any type of attack roll. Ooh. That opens up some doors to like green flame blade and things like that we consider, or like something that would be considered a spell attack roll can be a maneuvering attack. I'd have to. They might have it down here. So that was disarming attack, right? Because I'm not going to read through every one of these. With an attack roll, you can expend 1 of your superior to disarm the target. Doesn't say melee attack. Doesn't say melee attack, and potentially then it could work with a ranged attack as well. So it could be a spell attack of some sort, although I think that is considered a magic action rather than an attack action. So I don't know how that works with some of the new verbiage. But arcane archers can now, because I believe there's some ways as a fighter of other types to get certain maneuvers. They can actually use these, or if like you pull out your bow as a battle master, you actually have uses for it. Yeah, because some of these, like I think some of them are going to be um, yeah, some of them specify melee attack still. So I think some of these changes make battle masters able to be ranged a little more. So that's cool. Lose a foot last until the end of your turn, not when you stop moving. Okay. Lunging attack now lets you take the dash action as a bonus action and add superiority die if you hit a creature after moving at least 10 feet in a straight line. So kind of like a charge or ram. Parry. Precision attack now triggers from missing an attack roll, not before you know if the attack hits or not. Rally. Can choose which type of so you can choose which mental stat to use, and then add a thing. I'm curious. Precision attack. Yeah, you probably had to add it beforehand. Yeah, so some find little shifts and stuff. And yeah, they make like you can do a disarming attack with your bow. Cool. Brawler. This is the new. Um, uh, the new DM's guide has magic items that will enhance unarmed strikes and improvised weapons. Which is cool, right? Monks and other fisticuff kind of classes have always somewhat lagged a little bit behind as things progress because like, oh, we found this cool magic sword that has like 8 charges of this and can do this, and when I hit I can choose it. I was like, oh, I mean, yeah, I do more damage than everybody else per round, but I lose out on a little bit of fun stuff because I don't get to use cool weird weapons. So having like I tend to do mostly custom magic items, but the more stuff that's in the DM's guide, the better, because then I know it lets me determine power levels of certain things. So I can still do custom magic items, but I want to see that book. Give me more DM stuff. Like what, we're only playtesting player stuff? Come on, guys. Give me some stuff. Give me some stuff to mess with. Come on. Roll a d6 plus your strength in place of a normal damage die for unarmed strike. Or normal damage, because I think unarmed strike is normally 1 plus strength. If you aren't holding any weapons or a shield, when you make an attack roll, the d6 becomes a d8. Interesting. So you can have like an unarmed, because certain weapons let you attack with your offhand as your bonus action and whatnot. So you can do an unarmed strike with your bonus action, it's a D8, D6, or you can have a shield on, it's a D6. But then if you have none of that, it's D8s. Yeah, brings it in line. I think not. I think monks start with a D. Oh, they changed things. I can't remember what monks start with now. I think they changed the damage die. I think they started with a 4 and then a 6 and then but they have a lot more multi-attack options than fighters do. Proficient with improvised weapons. Whenever you finish a long rest, you choose one weapon property from the one-handed list and one from the two-handed list. The one-handed choices apply to one-handed improvised weapons. Oh. So you can like throw light improvised weapons and stuff like that. Okay, I could see some fun happening here. In addition, whenever you attack with improvised weapon, you can give it one of the following mastery properties of that attack, depending on whether it can be wielded in one-handed or two. So you don't lose out on too much of the weapon mastery stuff because you're using improvised weapons. Which again, yeah, that's sweet. Although I wish so. Unarmed expert, does that apply to? Is it considered an improvised weapon? I don't know. I don't know. But this is cool, being able to add those to it. Grappling expert can make an unarmed strike as a bonus action. When you use this strike in this way, it can be a grapple or shove. So they can grapple and shove as a bonus action. And you deal a d6 bludgeoning to a creature that is grappled by you. That's really fun. I like that. Dirty fighting, advantage attack rolls made with improvised weapon and unarmed striking creature grappled by you, so gain advantage again. Yeah, this is like we're gonna be grappling. Like this is a brawler. I like this. You are a master of making the ordinary deadly. Whenever you hit a creature with an improvised weapon, you can add your proficiency bonus to the damage roll. And the damage die of your two-handed improvised weapons becomes 1d12. In addition, whenever you attack with an improvised weapon, you can use 2 mastery properties from the... Ooh! Unarmed specialist. Unarmed strikes become d8. If you aren't holding any weapons or shield, then they become a d10. I like this subclass. I want to play a fighter. um, this strikes me. There's a lot of people who played monk in this manner of like I was like a street urchin who learned how to fight in underground boxing rings and stuff, and they kind of like shifted monk to kind of fit that. Or like I've seen, I think there's like a PDF out there of like the pugilist kind of thing of like an unarmed fighter who's more of again a brawler. Yeah, like this is less I'm a trained martial artist and more um yeah, like underground boxing ring, which boxing is a martial art, but that's a whole other I don't want to get into that. I love the flavor of this. Um I love the idea of grappling becoming part of your and it's just you deal a d6. There's no bonus action used to do it. So like you can grapple a creature, it can't move. Because I believe grapple drops its speed to 0. Is the main thing. You do extra damage to it at the beginning of every one of your turns, and then you get advantage on your attack rolls against it, and you can just pummel it into the ground. That's great. Improvised weapons of like I'm gonna grab this chair. Right, you can do so much fun RP stuff with this in combat. This would have been one of my favorite things to watch. Liam O'Brien play Orem is he's been really narrating what he's doing as opposed to just I attack, I attack, I attack. It's like no, I do this. I swipe up with my sword this way. I do that. Right. This opens up a lot more doors to that in my own head. I really like this. I dig this. It sounds like a ton of fun. Okay. So yeah, summing it up, Brawler looks good, looks fun. I'd like to have seen some of the like it gets one or two superiority die things that some of the other subclasses get, but I don't know if that's across the board with fighters. I think that's mostly like I think there's like 2 of them that get that. Maybe that's just in my head from the limited experience I have DMing for fighters. But yeah, this being able to make like a monk-esque fighter, that's again more of a dirty, not dirty of like I'm gonna kick you in the nuts, but more down and dirty, rolling around on the ground, punching each other, kind of vibe, which I'm all here for. Champions, so they were in the previous playtest versions. Adaptable Victor moved to level 3. Well, they moved everything to standard leveling. Advantage on initiative rolls and strength athletics checks, in addition to increased long jump distance. So yeah, critical strike stuff. Now the actual changes, it's only a couple little ones. Like heroic rally, 30 returns, regain hit points equal to 5 plus con mod. Start of your turns, you regain hit points equal to 5 plus your con mod if you have no more than half of your hit points. So it'll just heal you up to halfway at most. Oh, but it's heroic warrior that I'm looking for. I mean, that's cool. Heroic warrior. Oh, so you start each combat or each turn with like a inspiration die. Okay. Markable athlete. Yeah, I don't want to spend too much time talking about it. These are only minor changes. That's cool. I don't know. Eldritch Knight. So this hasn't changed since the handbook. So spellcasting contains no school magic restrictions after level 3 in the subclass. Moreover, the fighter can now change one cantrip when gaining a level. Okay. Why are they mentioning the wizard spell list? I guess it's for cantrips. This to me, um, sounds like it's going to be a little busted for the playtest because they haven't officially added in the arcane primal divine. So they have to rely on wizard tables, I think. But anyway, so yeah, no school of magic. Oh, okay, so because there's no school of magic restrictions, I mistook this school of magic meaning primal divine arcane. They mean evocation, divination, etc. So that's the main change there. Okay, that's fine. Whenever you gain a fighter level, you can change the cantrip, change one of your cantrips. The fighter can now use an arcane focus. I thought they always could, but it's okay. They probably, I'm willing to guess, they allow certain weapons to be used as down the road as arcane foci. Now allow you to replace one of your attacks with. Okay, I need to read that. That sounds potentially overpowered as hell. Let's find out. Improved war magic. Replace two of your attacks. Level 1 or level. Okay, so I have to read war magic and improve war magic. Those are the main changes. When you make an attack action, you can replace one attack with casting one of your wizard cantrips that has a casting time of an action. I believe Green Flame Blade was a bonus action? Or is it an action that adds a... Okay, cool. It does work the way I think it does. So you can replace one of your melee attacks with like Green Flame Blade. Or I think Shocking Grasp, I think is a cantrip as well. Like, yeah, like there's a few fun cantrips out there that you can replace. Now, this doesn't, so in the improved war magic doesn't say two of Oh, I see. When you take an attack action on your turn, you can replace 2 of the attacks with casting 1 of your wizard spells. That confused me at first. This is less interesting than I thought. Because you should at this level 18, you only have 2 attacks. I think you get a 3rd attack at 18. Or no, you get 2. You have 3 extra. Yeah, you have 2 extra attacks at this level. So you have 3 attacks total. So you still get a melee attack. And you can replace one of those melee attacks with a cantrip. So you can cast Green Flame Blade and a yeah, you can cast a spell and a cantrip in the same turn. Both action based. That's actually really cool. Okay, I see. That's neat because yeah, it makes them very much like a powerful. I don't know, and it doesn't stipulate. It just says it has to have a casting time of an action, so it doesn't specify it has to be like on a single attack. So yeah, there's a bunch of really interesting ways to use that. But then yeah, you could potentially do I cast a spell and then hit them with this thing. If you're doing then you can hit with a cantrip as one of those attacks as well with an action surge, letting you then do on one turn you could do 3 attacks, a cantrip, and a spell. That's kind of cool. All right, and then they're going into sorcerer, which I don't have time for today because I gotta be at work I gotta be working 2 hours. But I should eat. Yeah, I think that's a good spot to call it for today. So we're at sorcerer. So far, not overly caring for what I see. The changes are so dumbed down and pulled back that I don't know. I don't know. Well, oh no, I have to be at work in an hour. Never mind. All right, I'm gone.